and welcome into the Week 10 Countdown Show. I'm your host, Ian Power, joined as always by Matt Vitale. Finally, Frankie Santiago is back with us on the Thursday show.
I'm here in spirit.
No, you're here physically for once today. You're not off drinking beer or stocking beer or doing beer stuff, whatever it is you
Ian,
do.
what are you talking about? Frankie died 3 years ago.
Okay. So we're going to get into the news here. Austin Eckler posted a hype video today. He said, "The time draws near."
Yes.
To be fair, it was a video of him running straight forward. So,
I mean, I would hope that a starting running back in the NFL can run straight forward.
well, that's what I'm saying. Is like he wasn't like, making any sharp cuts or like doing any what I would describe as football moves. Like he was just running in a straight line.
Yep. As long as he runs straight forward, he'll be okay.
Like, do we know if that's even like a current video, like, or did he just take something from like a practice camp of him running forward?
I would imagine it's a current video. That otherwise that seems kind of cheesy on his part. But good news if it's true. Eckler managers have been waiting for a while to get him back, so that'll be nice for them. Dave Montgomery not practicing today. Something to keep an eye on. If he doesn't have a decision made by Sunday, what are you guys doing with him? Are you guys, because he's the Monday game this week, so are you guys holding out hope that he's playing, or are you precautionary benching him?
He's an easy precautionary bench just because it's not like he's a big asset to your team. He's that 9-point he is only floor.
Sure.
Yeah, if he's a game time decision, he's riding pine.
Fair enough. I'm in that same camp. It's mostly just because there's a great like backup option either if he doesn't play. Like I don't want to have to roll Cordero Patterson out there or whoever else is in that backfield. So yeah, same camp as you guys. Darrell Henderson, Cooper Kupp, both limited in practice today. Sounds like they're both expected to play. TJ Hawkinson missed practice today. That one's a little bit more worrying. I don't really care as much about limited, but when you go from making practice to missing practice,
Never usually a good sign.
it is something to keep an eye on. Obviously, still a chance he plays. He's back at practice tomorrow. I don't care at all. It's just a day of rest for a probably nagging injury or whatever. But and if he plays this weekend, he's in my lineup. He's one of my favorite tight end options on the weekend. Carson was a DNP again. Sounds like he's trending towards not playing again this weekend. So that kind of sucks because I know you were expecting Carson to be back by now if you were someone rostering him. It sounded like it was going to be like a 1 to 2 week thing, and yeah. He's still not exactly on the field. Noah Fant, on the other hand, was able to return to full participant today. So he should be a full go after his injury scare last week. And then some good news for the Dolphins backfield, a little bit of clarity there. Matt Breida has been practicing in a limited capacity. It seems like if he's able to go tomorrow, he'll probably be able to give it a go this weekend. It's a pretty good matchup for him if he is able to go. The Chargers aren't that good against the run. Are you guys rolling Breida out there if he's able to play, or are you worried the hamstring's going to hamper him?
Nope, I'm not rolling him.
I do not feel comfortable at this point starting anybody on San Fran. Maybe Jordan.
Breida is on the Dolphins, Frankie. Has been all year.
Been for a bit. But yeah, no. I am still trying to figure out what this offense looks like. We had a very down week for their offense when Tua started, and then it kind of resurged a little bit in the second game. Like, this is an offense I'm trying to just avoid until I have a little more clarity, or like so they just either break out or the bus falls apart.
Sure. I'm actually willing to play Breida this weekend. I'll take the opposite stance. If Breida is officially a full go this weekend, I will roll him out there. I think you can rely on him as a low end RB2 this week with high end RB2 upside. Because he's a talented guy. So if he's on the field against a bad run defense, there's always a chance he breaks one off for a big play, and that could be all you need to get value out of Breida this weekend. So I think he's an interesting option. Any news that I didn't mention that you guys want to bring up?
Not that I saw. I think the biggest thing I saw was still Hawk as far as like guys I care about.
Yeah, the only thing I saw was Chark missing practice with an illness. So, wasn't COVID, or at least it wasn't COVID yet.
Yeah.
But it's probably just a 1 to 2 day thing. Could linger on. It's something to keep an eye on, but I have low worry about that one.
Yeah, missing practice on Thursday with an illness too is one of those things where I'm always like, oh, like that's a unless they're coming at me like it's bronchitis or something like that, where it's like, oh, you're not going to be making the game. It's like they have really, really, really good drugs in the NFL, so it's like when's the last time that someone had like a cold on Thursday and they weren't able to, or like the flu even on Thursday and they weren't able to play on Sunday because of it? Like it never happens. They just juice them full of special juice or whatever it is they got in that locker room.
It was probably just some bad Chinese food.
Michael's secret stuff.
I actually do think we had. I can try to remember the player. I think I had him on one of my teams who did actually miss a game due to the flu, but I think it was a situation where they either didn't need him, or it was something where it was just like a short week.
Sure.
So it was a flu going into a game, and they just made the call to sit him. So it was like on the borderline, whereas like Chark's kind of a focal point where it's like if he's got the flu, they're just gonna be like, you're just gonna be on IVs as soon as you come off. Like as soon as you hit the bench, it's just IVs, cold towels, just like everything.
Yeah, it's fair enough. You guys ready to jump into the slate then?
Let her rip.
Cool. First game, I don't know if you guys looked at this yet, by the way. Really weird slate. They split the games up this week so that we only have 5 1 o'clock games, and I think it's 6, if I counted correctly, 4 o'clock games. So they're finally giving us a bit better balance on the slate. But our first 1 o'clock game, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Carolina Panthers. The Bucs are 6-point favorites in this one, 50.5 point total. I think this is potentially a big game for the Buccaneers. I mean, they just got their teeth kicked in by the Saints, another divisional opponent. I know that we like to be arrow pointing down on Tom Brady on this show, but
I'm not that guy. Just make sure.
I think that
Frankie
he
and
is
I.
going to come out and just manhandle the Panthers.
The Panthers aren't the worst defense in the league. They don't have a great run defense, but their pass defense is okay. I think you're going to see one of two things. Either Brady's going to come out and throw for 1 billion yards and 17 touchdowns, or Brady's going to come out and they're going to avoid using him too much, and it's going to be like the Leonard Fournette show. Because realistically, they should be able to beat this team without making Brady throw the ball too many times.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a bigger day for the running backs here. Again, as I touched on with the Ronald Jones start this week, I don't think they're going to run the ball only 4 times. Like, that's incredible that actually happened. But no, I think that it's going to be less of those shots down the field with Brady, more of that typical Tom Brady, 10-yard slants to Chris Godwin or Antonio Brown.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the opposite stance here. I think they just got their teeth kicked in. 2, they have a new toy that they're trying to get to gel with this offense. I think they need to, I could see this being a game where the first half is the gun show, and it's just Brady coming back out, establishing dominance, putting the confidence back in his team that they can do it with these weapons. And then once they've got, a 2-score lead, then it's just strangle them out with the running backs.
Keep in mind, this Panthers team did just keep up with the Chiefs last week. So the Panthers are able to stop drives and get some big drives of their own. I think this is going to be a pretty interesting game from a fantasy perspective. On the Buccaneers, you're playing Tom Brady, you're playing Rob Gronkowski, you're playing Chris Godwin. Are you guys willing to roll out Mike Evans and Antonio Brown this week?
Brown, yes. Evans is if I need Evans, I'll roll him out there just because he could get it. He has a higher percentage of pulling in a touchdown than most of the receivers on that team just because of his play style.
Sure.
Basically, everyone on the Bucs I'm willing to roll out this week, except for Scotty Miller.
What about Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette? Are you starting Ronald Jones or just Leonard?
I'll start them both.
Yeah.
Interesting. I would not start both of them personally. I think that if I have to pick one, I'm picking Leonard. The snap count and the touches seem to be going his way. So I think for the meantime, you have to sort of, follow the numbers. Ronald Jones is a desperation play, if anything, for me this week. And then for wide receivers, I would prefer to not have to start any of them aside from Godwin. So
honestly, for me, this is a little bit of a prove-it game for Godwin. Like, he has been on the IR the whole season. Like, he's just not been paying back for fantasy owners, and you paid premium for him mid-round, second-round pick. I feel like he really needs to turn something in. Like, he is a guy I was considering shopping for. Like, hey, maybe buy that nice juicy asset at a depressed value, but I ended up not even bothering because maybe this is just what Godwin is this year because he's too banged up or whatever.
Yeah, he has definitely been struggling, and it's kind of a shame to see a guy with that much draft stock, kind of not deliver.
Oh, a draft stock in 2020 not paying back? That's a shock.
We always talk about truncated target trees, and those being the ones you want to target. I think that's the biggest issue for him this season. Is it's not a clear target tree in that Bruce Arians system. It was supposed to be, funnel offense, Godwin, then Evans. A little bit of using their running backs out of the backfield because Brady likes to use their running backs. One of the tight ends is probably going to pay off. Instead, it hasn't been that at all. They went out, they picked up Antonio Brown, so the wide receiver room has gotten more crowded. A tight end has emerged. It was Gronkowski, shocker. But, that was really more of a function of O.J. Howard getting hurt. It's like that offense has just become sort of a quagmire for fantasy value where it's like you don't really want to have a piece of any of it. Panthers side of the ball, obviously you're starting Robbie Anderson, you're starting Mike Davis. Are you willing to roll out Curtis Samuel or DJ Moore this week? I mean, Curtis Samuel's been the hot hand. DJ Moore is still, I would say, the more talented of the two, but he seems to be the forgotten man in this offense. What are you guys doing with them?
DJ Moore, it just sucks because he has such that big play potential, and he's kind of reminding me of Mike Evans, where it's like, he's going to get you that big play, or he's going to get you nothing. It's just, I don't know. I don't feel comfortable. I would feel more comfortable if I have to pick one, Curtis Samuel, because he is looking like he's coming into what we thought he was going to be last year.
So you're riding the hot hand?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll ride the hot hand, but I will begrudgingly, I would put DJ Moore in the begrudgingly playing him. Like, he's on your roster. You paid up for him. If you don't have the depth to play behind him, like, he's a wide receiver 3 flex option for me this week. And I don't think that's not too bad for your team, but that's not where he should have been sitting based on where he was going in drafts.
I have him much lower than that for me this week. For one reason or another, I've been watching a lot of Panthers games lately. And it just, DJ Moore is just not getting it done. I mean, at the end of the day, he's posted a couple like okay fantasy totals, but I mean like 2 weeks ago, like he was rocking almost a goose until like the last drive of the game when he caught like a 41-yard pass to salvage his day. Like he's clearly not a piece of that offense right now. I don't know what's going on. If it's just he's not in sync with Bridgewater, or Matt Rule doesn't like him as much as the other two guys. I honestly don't know, but he's riding the pine for me until further notice. And if he goes off my bench, great. Then I'll feel a little more comfortable putting him back in my lineup. But I think your odds right now are much better of getting a 2 than a 20 from him. Philadelphia Eagles, New York Giants, next game on the slate. 44.5 point over under. Eagles are 3-point favorites in this one, which is kind of pathetic given that the Giants are the Giants.
The Giants should have beat the Bucks.
Hey, I mean, this game's for the division lead. I'm sorry, the Giants are a game and a half out of first in the division. Hey, if the Giants win here, they pull within a half game of that division lead. This is a big divisional matchup right here. And that's about as much fake excitement as I can muster for this one.
Yeah, this one should be a one-sided. It should be. I feel so like, it's gross, and I feel like the only reason the Giants are even getting like as close as they are in the spread is just because it's divisional. Like I said last week, even if it's a bad matchup, especially when you're at home, your rivals, how they play, their tendencies. You just play them better. You play up to their level a little bit more, a la Dolphins and Bills in the years previous. So I think they played up. I think they played a little above their heads when they beat the Redskins. I also think they benefited from a quarterback going down in the middle of that game.
Sure.
So I don't expect that here. And I mean, then again, the Eagles are the injury team. So if there's going to be another quarterback going down, I'm going to put my money on the Eagles.
Yeah, but they're getting some weapons back, I think.
Yeah,
Right,
Jalen
but-
Rager's back. Fulham looks good. Goddard's healthy. Miles Sanders is playing this week. This is about as healthy. Oh, and Alshon Jeffrey might be back this week.
Exactly.
This is about as healthy as the Eagles have been all year.
And probably healthy as they're going to get because somebody else is definitely going to get hurt this game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like if you had to guess an injury this week, this is where I'm putting my money.
Well, Alshon Jeffrey is in the game, so yeah, I'm on the Eagles side of the ball. I'm comfortable basically rolling out any of the Eagles I just mentioned. I think Carson Wentz is a great streaming option this week. Giants side of the ball, it's basically just Sterling Shepard, and I don't want anyone else. Is there anyone in this game that you guys are looking at that I'm overlooking?
Nope. Not at all.
I might roll Ingram out there if I need a tight end.
Sure, I guess. Because just like all of the tight ends, he could score you like 3 or 10 if he gets in the end zone.
I mean, he's probably, honestly, the best receiver on that team.
No, Sterling Shepard's on that team.
I think he's probably the best receiver on that team.
I feel like you haven't watched Evan Ingram catch footballs.
I've watched him throw a touchdown this season.
Is throwing a touchdown the same as catching a touchdown, Frankie?
No, but he's gonna large skill set.
Anyway, Houston Texans, Cleveland Browns. Next game on the slate here. 48.5 point over under. The Browns are 3.5 point favorites in this one. This one is one that I'm kind of a fan of.
I was gonna say, oddly enough, I'm excited for this one for some reason.
It's been a while since like before this season where like there have been multiple Browns games where I'm like, yeah, this could be fun. Like generally it's more like I'd rather step in front of a speeding train than watch the Browns play. But this one could be I think the total might be a little like a hair low for this one, honestly. You know, the Texans can score. Deshaun Watson's looked good. Brandon Cooks has looked good. Will Fuller has looked awesome. Their run game doesn't really matter because I don't think Duke Johnson and David Johnson are all that much different at this point in David Johnson's career.
Yeah, for teams that don't really have super great defenses, it seems like a really low total.
I mean, the Browns defense is, I would say, like middle of the pack.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's Baker can return back to that just like crappy Baker and give you a dud. He is still missing OBJ. Like there are paths to this game hitting the under. I would still favor the over on this one just because Houston just got lit up by Luton, who even though I'm on that Luton train right now, I am not delusional to think that he's anything special at this point.
Yeah.
So Baker against them should be able to put up points. If Chubb is able to go for this one, then that's just more production they can get out of that offense.
It sounds like Chubb will be ready to go. They're expecting Chubb to be able to suit up. So that's actually a big reason why I feel like this total is too low. Just because Houston's really bad at stopping anything. I feel like the Browns should be able to go back to implementing their game plan and really control this game via Chubb and Hunt. As far as the receiving options on the Browns side, because obviously the Texans you're playing Cooks, you're playing Watson, you're playing Fuller, and that's about it. You're playing Duke Johnson if David Johnson doesn't go. Brown side of the ball, you're playing the running backs, or you're playing Jarvis Landry. Is there anyone else in this game that you guys are looking at as a start that might not be as obvious?
No, I'm not going to get cute with it. It's pretty much. I mean, I really like Fuller in this one. I have a lot of Fuller in my dailies, but no, it's not really one of those things. Like, there's not really a sneaky play here. It's kind of just you start your guys. I mean, start everyone.
I think the only guy I didn't mention that I'd be looking at would be Hooper.
Yeah, Hooper could have something. I'm not going to try and get cute and hope that there's another Rashard Higgins game out there.
Yeah.
I think he was just a flash in the pan.
I'd rather start Rashard Higgins than DJ Moore this week.
That's pretty bold. That is bold. Like he could pay off just because of a couple sneaky catches, but just because he has down the field play. So if you're trying to get cute with it, and if you really got to get cute with it, Higgins isn't the worst play, but man, he's low on my wide receiver rating for this week.
Sure. Next game actually doesn't have an over-under. Washington football team against the Detroit Lions. The Lions are 4.5-point favorites in this one. This one's pretty linear to me. Washington is an above-average defense this season. They're a lot better than I think a lot of people give them credit for because, Washington football team, funny jokes, don't have name. Fart into microphone.
They really do need to pick a name, though.
Yes, they do. But the lack of a name doesn't make their defense bad. On the other side of the ball, the Lions are missing their best offensive weapon, and they might be missing their second best offensive weapon. I'm trying to avoid this game with a 10-foot pole. I mean, it should be a good game for Washington's running game. You're playing Terry if you have him. I'm fine benching all of your Lions this week if Hawk doesn't play.
Yeah, if they're missing their two best offensive, I'm not betting this game at all. I'm not getting cute with it. It's
like Marvin Jones, Danny Amendola, whoever their backup tight end is. Like, I'm not starting in the running game, avoiding that. Like, I'm not starting any Lions this week if Hawkinson doesn't go. And I guess the one caveat would be if I need a running back, I will start DeAndre Swift, but I'm looking for ways to bench him.
Yeah.
So I think my only question in this one, because I do agree with what you guys are saying about the Lions, on the Washington side of the ball, if you need a quarterback, what do you think about Alex Smith for this week?
No. I don't think the total is going to be anywhere near high enough for Alex Smith to turn in a performance that you're going to be happy with, or anywhere near happy with. I think there are much better streamers available that at least give you the chance for a better ceiling than Alex Smith. I think Alex Smith's ceiling this week is 15 points.
Fair enough.
Buffalo Bills, Arizona Cardinals in a much more exciting game. This one actually has a total 56.5 points. The Cards are 2.5-point favorites in this one. This one should be great. Neither team can play good defense really at all. Both teams have exciting, fast-moving offenses with quarterbacks that can run and big down-the-field receiving threats. I want every bit of this game. I want to inject this game into my veins. This game is going to be awesome. I'm excited to watch it. Kyler is always a joy to watch. They have the best receiver in football, thanks to Bill O'Brien being a dunce. Other side of the ball, Josh Allen's should be slinging it to Stephon Diggs this week. Let's go.
I didn't know Devontae Adams was on the Cardinals.
He's not, but DeAndre Hopkins is.
Yeah, this game should be basically this should be the swan song for the Bills as a fantasy option in my mind, because as I talked about in the previous show, it gets rough after here. It's bye and then rough.
Go watch that show, by the way.
Yeah, go watch that show if you want to get my full breakdown on why certain quarterbacks should be traded very soon.
Yes.
Probably either before or after this game, but
Definitely before.
Oh yeah, before is the better one because you can sell it more.
It's hard to sell players on a bye.
Yeah. But this one should be basically any option you can really kind of talk me into from a DFS point of view. Either quarterback should have a good day. They should start with confidence. They're studs. Start with confidence. So,
sure.
Yeah, this one I'm not getting cute on in the positive manner.
So my only question for this one, because I think that there are a lot of viable plays for both teams in this one. But what are you guys doing with the Bills' running game in this game? As we touch on frequently, running backs are very limited this season. There's not a lot of them to go around. You might have to start one of them this week, or maybe you have maybe they're one of three guys that you have on your team, and you're looking at a matchup play this week. Maybe you're looking at having to choose between Darrell Henderson, who's banged up, going against the Seahawks, or Devin Singletary against the Cardinals.
I will still take Darrell, just because I love his matchup that much more.
Sure.
This one, I'm willing to play Zach Moss much more than Singletary because
like Zach Moss day to me.
You're chasing the touchdown upside.
I'm chasing touchdown upside because of how they play with that downfield. The ball can move 60 yards in a flash of an eye.
Yeah.
You're probably gonna see a lot more red zone opportunities for their running backs than you're gonna see them crossing the midfield slowly with their running back. Like,
Sure.
you're just going to see maybe a couple carries, and then just like, all right, just chuck it to Stephon Diggs, and then boom, they're in the red zone. It's like, all right, Zach Moss, get in there.
Chuck to one of their 3 down the field receivers. Like, yeah, I know, I'm with you there. That's if I have to play one, that's who I'm playing. Also, I think it's a kind of a crapshoot with this backfield, so you might as well chase those touchdowns. Denver Broncos, Las Vegas Raiders. Next game on the slate, 50.5 point total here. The Raiders are 4-point favorites in this one. I believe that's actually come down from earlier in the week, and that's probably because Noah Fant was a full go today. I imagine Fant being cleared for the game does bring it a little bit closer. He's probably the Broncos' most talented offensive weapon at this point in their careers, or combination of talent and skill. Because Judy is obviously great, but he's still a rookie. Honestly, another game that I'm pretty excited for. I don't think it's going to be quite as flashy as Cardinals-Bills, but
the Raiders have looked good.
Yeah, the Raiders
this
have been.
Year.
Derek Carr has been like real football good, and he's been serviceable for fantasy managers. You've been able to stream him a couple times this season to at least not like weak, crippling failure. I'm pretty interested in the obvious options for the Raiders this week. Josh Jacobs should have a nice week. Darren Waller should have a nice week. I'm probably okay rolling out Nelson Aguilar. Broncos side of the ball I think is where more of my hesitation comes in. Outside of Noah Fant, who are you guys willing to play in this one? I mean, Melvin Gordon's not looked great the last couple weeks for whatever reason. I mean, just game script or what, but Melvin Gordon hasn't been getting a ton of opportunities. Same with Phillip Lindsay, honestly. Phillip Lindsay actually posted a decent total a couple weeks back, but it was thanks to a big touchdown run. Like, you can't rely on that on a week-in, week-out basis. Jerry Jeudy's just kind of been there. Noah Fant's been good while he's been on the field, but he keeps leaving the field. Like, who on the Broncos side of the ball are you guys willing to play in this one?
I mean, I'm still comfortable rolling Jeudy out there just because of, like, he has that big play potential because he's just that talented. He's so fast.
Yeah.
And he can get behind secondaries really easy. As far as the running backs, though, it's like it's so much of a toss-up with these two guys. I mean, one week it's Lindsay, the next week it's Gordon. I mean, I want to play both of them, but I want to play neither of them at the same time. It's if I have better options with more clear...
I will say the Raiders are a really easy run defense.
But that honestly, that makes it harder for me because it's like, then you're like, oh, who's going to get the touchdowns here? If I have better options where it's a clear, this is the guy, I'm going to start that.
Yeah, for me, it's a little bit less murky as far as running backs. I'm going to go with Gordon because that's who they want to use. Like, Lindsay has to feed off of what he gets, whereas Gordon should be their first look.
Sure.
That it still limits his ceiling, but against the Raiders, their passing options, while are getting healthy, still are carrying some injury. Jeudy is questionable this week.
Yep.
Fant's coming back. Tim Patrick is Tim Patrick, who's a guy I'm in on for this week as far as how cheap he is for DFS, but he's still just a flex play at best for me in redraft. Yeah, that's, like I said, I'll start Melvin Gordon begrudgingly if you need him because running back is so shallow. So I have no qualms there, but yeah, I think this is try and keep it simple. I want the Raiders side of the ball a lot more than I want the Broncos side. I think this will be a good football match. Fantasy, it could be kind of a meh.
So do you not trust that 50.5 point total?
Not really, honestly. The Broncos defense is respectable. The Raiders, like if this is a Josh Jacobs game, it could be a really great game for him, but could just be a slow day where he's just grinding it out.
I think this is actually I'm taking the over on this one because I think this is going to be a sneaky shootout, as I like to say. I mean, we saw last week at the end of the Falcons game, Drew Lock was throwing touchdowns every drive.
He remembered he's an NFL quarterback and has to actually throw the ball.
Yeah, and I mean, he has the weapons to do it. Noah Fant, Jerry Jeudy, again, gets behind those secondaries.
Like the bad man sketch. Like, this is a football? Just
no, it's like, and again, the Raiders have looked good, so I can see this. I mean, the Broncos defense is a little bit better than them, but I think it's going to hit the over here.
See, I guess I'm kind of in between you guys. I think that the 50.5 is just about right. While my confidence isn't high for anyone on the Broncos side of the ball, I'm fine starting Fant, Judy, Tim Patrick. If you need a streaming option, I don't mind rolling Drew Lock out there. Melvin Gordon obviously is a lock for me this week just because of the easiness of the matchup and the shallowness of running back. If you need a spot start, I think that Phillip Lindsay is like a very volatile running back 3 this week. He could get you 2 or 20. I guess my only last question about this one for you, Vitali, seeing as you are down on this matchup, if you don't think the Broncos are going to be able to move the ball very well, and you think the Raiders are going to be running a slower game plan, do you want to say you missed out on all the streaming options this week? Are you taking a shot at the Raiders defense? If you need to roll a defense out there and you missed the clear and obvious plays?
I mean, off the top of my head, I want to say no, just because it never really jumped to my mind to go for them, and they haven't really been... I mean, and this is our league, but they are in our league alone, in which it's probably not too far off.
Yeah.
They are the 32nd ranked defense,
Yes.
so they are on top of that not stopping people, but they're also not getting to the quarterback. They're not forcing turnovers. They're not getting pick sixes, fumble sixes, stuff like that.
Sure.
And I think that's a big thing that I'm usually targeting. I'm targeting a team that can at least slow an offense, like a bend don't break off a defense that has ball hawking potential, or somebody who's coming off the edge and can just get sacks to keep your points going up. Because if you're just trying to play for the slow, grindy, like, oh, look at we held them to 3 points, but we didn't do anything, you're gonna get a mediocre total most likely, and it's not going to be anything that might be able to win you a week or
Sure.
steal you a week, I guess is a better way to put it. So yeah, no, I'm not rolling the Vegas Raiders out there.
Okay. 48.5 point total on this next one. LA Chargers, Miami Dolphins. Very tight spread on this one. 1.5 point favorites the Dolphins are. I think this is one where I think that the total is a lie. I don't look at this one as a potential shoot. I think it's gonna be low scoring. Yeah. I still don't believe in Tua. I still want to see more from Tua before I am willing to throw a vote of confidence behind him. The Chargers have good players on the defensive side of the ball, players that might be able to take advantage of a rookie quarterback with not much experience. I think this could be very one-sided. I really like the Chargers side of the ball this week. Miami has a tough defense, but Herbert's looked good. Keenan Allen's obviously an all-pro.
I think that it's...
I don't want the Chargers running game at all, but...
Yeah, I think this is... I mean, I'm taking the under on this one. I think that it's going to be a very low-scoring game. I mean, I think that the Dolphins have, showed up this season. If Fitzpatrick was starting this game, I'd have a totally different opinion.
Yeah.
I still don't trust Tua. While I like him in good matchups, this is not one of them. I wouldn't even necessarily say I like him. It's just I'm more comfortable. This is one of those matchups I'm not comfortable with. The Chargers have looked good. And I think it's going to be maybe not super one-sided, but I think it's going to be more than a touchdown.
No, that's fair.
I, once again, am opposite of you guys. I actually do like this matchup. I think this could be a little bit of a rookie showcase for us. More so on the Herbert side.
So you're not scared of that Miami defense?
Not too much, no. I'm actually surprised that they're giving it. I figured the Chargers might be getting a tip this side, or this, especially with the money line. I figured the money line would be one where you see where it's so close that they're both negative. But Chargers plus 106 at the current moment. I'm all about that because I think the Chargers should be able to walk away with this one. Like I said, I don't trust Tua yet, but a lot of the throws out he was making them on a rope in good windows. Like he's making NFL caliber throws. He's got it with his legs. I think he has a skill set similar to Deshaun Watson from what I'm seeing, and I like that style. I like the throw 75% of the time, run 25 because I think it protects the quarterback, and it keeps you having to respect and put a QB spy out there without having to overcommit to the run to get anything done. Mm-hmm. So I think I'm not suggesting anyone start Tua this week. I just think as far as this game goes, I think there could be some production to be had. So I'm interested in the passing options on both sides.
Okay.
So yeah, I think if you need a flex start, Preston Williams should be he surely showed a rapport through 2 weeks with him. So I think he's a fine flex player this week if you need him. The running backs for Miami, not so much, just because I do respect that Chargers line a little bit more, especially with Bosa still there. Like,
Preston Williams is on IR right now.
Preston Williams is not a guy I like for a flex.
Start Preston Williams.
Yeah. So, like
Devontae Parker, Mike Gesicki, how do you feel?
Yeah, Gesicki. I like Gesicki. Like you said, it's a rookie quarterback. We know blanket. The blanket receiver positions are good positions to have for new quarterbacks. So Gesicki could just come into some cheap targets. Whether they're not as great because he kind of comes back to earth, he might still make his hay for at least for a tight end off of low quality targets.
Sure. 49ers, Saints, 49-point over-under. This one is supposed to be a bloodbath, according to Vegas.
It's gonna be very one-sided.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to do the 49ers like this, but honestly, I don't think there's that much to break down in this matchup. The Saints are gonna give them both barrels. Michael Thomas is back. Alvin Kamara is still there and looking great. Jared Cook is still there. Emmanuel Sanders is healthy. Like, that Saints team just looks like they're firing on all cylinders. They just crushed the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who were looking like a good team. I don't really think that the 49ers offense is going to be anywhere near close to what the Buccaneers possibly could do. So I'm just fading 49ers in this one.
Yeah, I mean, we saw what the Packers did to them last week. I think it's going to be worse this week. It's the Saints are my favorite right now to go to the Super Bowl.
They have to be after how they treated the Bucs.
It's going to be worse.
Yeah, like I said, I think this is a simple one. I think it's just start your stud Saints, and then that's it.
Fair. Real fast, I realized that I skipped over Jacksonville, Green Bay. It's a 50-point over-under. The Green Bay Packers are 13-point favorites. You're not starting any Jaguars except for James Robinson, and you're starting all of your Packers. Fair?
Yeah, it's pretty much in the same camp as this last one that we were just talking about. I mean,
I'm benching DJ Chark in this one.
Yeah, the Packers are going to completely manhandle the Jags here.
Yeah. Literally the only Jaguar I want this week is James Robinson. If you don't have him, you should probably find another option because Jair Alexander is really good at football. The Packers are good at pass defense. Lutton's going to have a bad day. Chark's going to have a bad day. And the Packers are going to have a track meet against this Jacksonville defense. Seahawks, Rams. This one should be much more competitive, though. 54.5 point over-under. And it's a very tight spread, 1.5 points, with the Rams actually being the favorites in this one. This is one where I think that there is some potential. Like, if you need a spot start, I'm willing to go hunting in this one, and maybe take what might be a suboptimal play over starting some of these receivers on other teams. Like, I might start Josh Reynolds this week if I need a wide receiver play. I'm hurting at the position. He's a guy who's been involved in the passing game. He's gotten some touchdowns on the season, and there should be touchdowns aplenty in this matchup to me.
Yeah, I'm playing a lot of Rams receivers in my dailies. Robert Woods, especially if Cooper Kupp's out this week.
It doesn't look like he's going to be out. He was only limited in practice, but it sounds like they expect him to play.
Yeah, even if he plays, both of them are going to have plenty of...
Oh, yeah.
They're going to have plenty of options to score. And I do agree with the Josh Reynolds comment. I think this is going to be the highest total of the week. I'm calling it now. It's going to be back and forth. I'm still picking the Rams in this one.
Sure.
I agree with Vegas here.
When it comes down to it, if both teams can score, you take the team that can actually stop people on defense.
Yeah, I'm not saying that if you start your Seahawks, you're going to have a bad game, because I think it's going to be back and forth. I just don't know how well they're going to be able to get once they get to the red zone. I mean, the Rams up front, obviously with Darnold, look great, and Donald, not Darnold, but they look great up there. Their pass defense is amazing. I can see them getting to the red zone. Can't see them scoring a super lot, and I don't think that big play. I mean, the big play potential is there. It's always there, but it's not. It's less there in this matchup.
Sure.
Yeah, I think the only question I have for you guys is, with how bountiful this matchup might be, are you interested in any of the tight ends? Because these tight ends have been waiver fodder for a little bit now with their lack of production, whether it be Disley, Olsen, Higbee. Like, these guys have been riding the pine.
Sure.
I might take Higbee here, because I mean, if it's a Hooper versus not Hooper, Higbee versus Disley or Olsen, and I have to pick one of those three, I'm taking Higbee, because it's, again, the Seahawks, they're trying to be the middle 2010 Packers, where it's like they're trying to outscore everybody, but they can't. I don't think they're going to do that in this game.
I actually don't want the Rams tight ends in this one. I think the Rams have enough passing options with both their running game and their wide receivers that I'd be surprised if you're just hunting for touchdowns. I don't think the tight ends are really going to get that involved in this game. If I have to, and I'm just double checking this, I want to make sure I'm not misquoting this, but if I have to take a tight end in this game, I'm probably more honestly looking at the Rams rating. I'm more interested in the Seahawks option, so I'll probably be rolling out Will Disley if I need a tight end in this one. The Rams are a bottom half 18th against the tight end position right now. So obviously, you can exploit them at the tight end position. It's not terrible, but it's probably their weakest spot. The Rams have very good corners. Lockett has been extremely boomer bust this season. He's either below, outside the top 50 at wide receiver, or like the one and it's not close. So I think you could see another disappearing act from Lockett this game. I think Metcalf's ceiling comes down. Carson's probably not going to be there this week, so they're likely rolling out DJ Dallas again, because it doesn't sound like Carlos Hyde's going to be ready either. Disley could easily end up with 2 touchdowns and 80 yards after this week, just because he's the guy who's open.
Yeah, that's what I've been tossing around with for just tight end plays for this week that aren't just the obvious ones. I feel like there's a couple of guys that are getting started that aren't the greatest, and then I feel like there's some guys who are kind of getting overlooked, like Disley and a couple other guys. So Disley was my answer for this one, just because I want to believe that the big stretch that he had last year is basically waiting to come back, and
sure,
if there's ever a time to do it, it's against a team that can cover the receiver and pressure the quarterback to make him have to dump away a quick pass if he's getting pressured by Donald. So
fair enough. Bengals Pittsburgh is the final 4:00 game. 45.5 point total in this one. Steelers are 7-point favorites. I think this one's another one's pretty linear for me. I'm playing the passing options this one. Tyler Boyd's looked great. T. Higgins has looked great. Joe Burrow could have a serviceable day, but I'm trying to avoid streaming him if I can. And then on the Pittsburgh side of the ball, I'm starting Deontay Johnson and Juju Smith-Schuster, and I'm starting James Conner, but I'm sitting everyone. Actually, I would start Ebron in this one, given that Vance McDonald is riding the pine this week.
Yeah, as far as, this is another one of those matchups, and don't get cute, just play the obvious. Don't try and sneak anybody in there. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think the only thing you got to watch with this one is just you just got to watch on this one for Big Ben's COVID designation.
Yeah.
He's tested negative, but he has to test negative multiple times throughout the week, so it could have just been gestating, and he could test positive, but if he tests negative and clears, he'll be good to play, and it's not like he's a guy who needs practice to get going. He just needs to be able to sit in. He just needs to be able to zoom in for the game plan and what they're going to be doing, and he's fine.
Honestly, though, with how this Pittsburgh Steelers offense functions and how bad the Bengals defense is, I don't really care who the quarterback. I mean, obviously, the Big Ben raises the ceiling. Well, so Big Ben raises the ceiling, but like I'm starting the guys that I mentioned regardless of who's behind center. Like Big Ben being out doesn't change who's in for me.
I heavily disagree because we saw last year what a
Duck Hodges.
Yeah, what a dumpster fire it was without Big Ben.
Sure.
And Big Ben hasn't even been amazing, and his receivers have still been great. So it's like, I don't want to go any worse than that. Like, I don't even want to gamble on worse than that. Like, I'll start Deontay. That's it. If Big Ben doesn't play, I'll start Connor because they're gonna need something. But
yeah,
I massively whacked down all their totals.
Okay. The Sunday night game should be gross. Ravens Patriots 43.5 point total.
I'm gonna love it.
This is another one where why are you gonna love it?
Because he's an Eagles fan, so anti-patriot.
Oh,
I don't like the Patriots.
It's not even a fun matchup to root against the Patriots because they're not the Patriots right now. But the Patriots are obviously disadvantaged in this matchup. I think this is a pretty easy one for me. Once again, you can start Hollywood. You can start Mark Andrews. You can start the Ravens defense. If you need him, you can start Lamar Jackson, but it's a sketchy start because the Patriots defense is still good against quarterbacks this season. And I'm sitting the running options this one because the Patriots defense is good against the run. And then I am starting literally 0 Patriots.
Yep.
Yeah, I think as far as like starting Lamar Jackson, I would honestly try and look. I mean, he obviously has that. Huge,
I'm streaming Jared Goff over.
I would say he honestly had like he will always have that huge ceiling because he's Lamar Jackson. But I think that in this matchup, I think they're going to get ahead really quick, and it's going to be they're ahead by like 24 in the fourth quarter. So
it wouldn't shock me if they just win with defense. That's the big reason that I'm avoiding, that I'm trying to avoid a lot of Ravens this week is just like the Ravens defense could score 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, it's going to be a very one-sided game.
And then our final matchup of the week, Minnesota Vikings, Chicago Bears. I didn't think we were going to see a matchup this season that involved the Minnesota Vikings and didn't have like a total north of like 46. But the Bears figured out a way. 43 point total. Like the lowest total on the lower than Ravens, Patriots, lower than Eagles, Giants, Vikings, Bears have a 43 point total this week. The Vikings are somehow only 3-point favorites, which speaks to either how much Vegas thinks of the Bears defense or how little Vegas thinks of the Vikings. I don't know. Like I'm not excited for this game. The Bears defense looks really good, so I don't want you're starting your Vikings if you have them because they're too high profile players to not start. But I don't want to start them because the Bears defense is good. And then I don't want to start the Bears passing options because the Bears quarterback play isn't good. So it's like, I don't know this is a garbage matchup. I hate it. Can we stop getting bad Monday games, NFL, please?
Yeah, I think I'm rolling Allen Robinson out there just because of the volume he's going to get. So obviously the opportunity is there.
I'm not saying you sit Allen Robinson. I'm more just saying like.
Well, I'm saying like you're going to start your studs. You're going to not start your non-studs. It's not going to keep with it.
It's just not a fun matchup. It's like. It's more just that I want, why can't we have Bengals Steelers Monday night? Like, flex this thing to a middle of the afternoon game. No one wants to watch this.
Yeah, this is not going to be a pretty one, so.
Yeah.
It's just start the very obvious players. Sit anything else.
I will start Darnell Mooney in this one if I need a moonshot. I'll roll him out there. He's been getting targets deep. You can, get through against the Vikings deep. It only takes one. So he's the only off the wall play that I'm looking at this week though for this matchup. All right, well that'll do it for the Sunday slate. What are you guys looking at for your stashing defense of the week? I've got 2.
I am
3 actually. I've got 3.
I'm taking Cincinnati here.
You're taking Cincinnati.
Yeah. Like they have
You know they don't have a defense, right?
Listen, they're playing the Washington football team.
Yeah,
who's notoriously bad.
I'm surprised you're not taking the other side of that matchup.
They were my second choice. But
okay, fair enough.
I think honestly, either defense you take here is going to be able to get to the quarterback. You're going to get those sack points. There's potential for picks on both sides. I think it's going to be an ugly game either way.
So you still think there's pick potential with Alex Smith under quarterback or under center?
Yeah.
The guy who doesn't target people down the field?
Yep.
Huh. Okay. Agree to disagree.
Yeah, it's gambling on how he's going to look because we've only seen him in limited fashion. But for me, I'll go with the very, very obvious one. I'll just take the Vikings against the Cowboys. Like, it's not a great defense, but I'll play almost anything against the Cowboys at this point.
Huh. You guys went in a real different direction. So the three that I was looking at, I would stash them in this order: Chargers versus Jets, Washington versus Bengals, and then Dolphins versus Broncos.
The Dolphins and the Chargers were another two I was just looking at, but like the Vikings get the crappy Cowboys who can't really who only just now kind of started figuring out how to score. But I think the Chargers, if I had to really rank them, I think I'd put the Chargers over the top just because Bosa's still there, so it's still talent.
And they get the Jets.
Yeah, the Chargers have looked good all season as far as passing goes. I just think that they're a good all-around defense, and if they're still out there, I would honestly feel comfortable just playing them every week.
I don't know I'll play them every week, but I would definitely feel comfortable rolling them out there against the Jets. All right, well, that'll do it for us here this week. I wish you all the best of luck in your matchups this weekend. And as always, if you have any questions for us prior to kickoff, hit us up on social media. Hit that subscribe button and give us a follow as well. So that way we can help, start growing the channel so we can make more content for you guys. That's our ultimate goal here, make as much content as possible for our viewing audience so you guys can get the most knowledge you can to win championships. Any final closing thoughts from you guys?
I hope you guys both lose this week.
That's rude.
All I can say is Naheem Hines' season has begun.
Okay.
Finger guns.